Good morning. We're back. So today we're going to be talking about factoring with binomials. Binomials meaning two terms. We're going to be factoring with two of them. So looking at these problems here, all of these expressions look very similar. The only difference is whether it's plus or minus. That kind of depends on how we will factor these problems. When we're factoring, if we can't factor a monomial out, remember that's always the first thing we want to do, we want to try to factor with binomials. So to start with, let's look at this one that's x squared plus 5x plus 6. Whenever we see just an x squared out front, which is in all of these, which is how we're all going to start these without any kind of coefficient here, the first part is easy. It's x and x. There's only one way to get x squared. Remember, there's a multiplication sign in here that we don't see. X times x is x squared. That's the only way we can get it. Now, the next thing I like to look at is the last term. This is a positive number. In order to get a positive number, when we multiply, we can do one of two things. It is a positive number times positive number, or a negative number times negative number. That also equals positive. But we also have to think about adding these two numbers to get this number in the middle. In order to get a positive number from two positives, they have to be positive. If this was negative, for taking these two examples, negative plus negative will always be negative. So right now, because both of these are positive, I know this sign has to be positive. Now I'm looking at how to get this term here, 6. This is where I'm going to use my horseshoe. There's combinations. Either 1 times 6 or 2 times 3 is how I get 6. Now I need to add these together. Whatever combination gives me a positive 5 will be my two solutions I use. So 1 plus 6 equals 7. 2 plus 3 equals 5. Middle term is 5. Therefore, my combination is 2 and 3. So this part can be solved as x plus 2 times x plus 3. This next one looks very similar, except this is minus. Again, same thing applies. The easy part, I always do the easy part first, x and x. Now you want to think about the signs. Sure, positive times positive is negative. Positive times positive is positive, but we want negative numbers here. So instead, because that's negative and that's positive, those two answers need to be negative, which forces my factors over here to both be negative. Negative 1 and negative 6 is negative 7, negative 2 and negative 3 is negative 5. Again here, we're going to be using 2 and 3. So my x minus 2 and x minus 3. The next one. Now this is a little bit different. But what is the same is we still start with x and x. But I need a negative number here. In order to get a negative number, we need 1 positive times 1 negative. That will give us a negative number. That's the only way. It doesn't matter what order they go in, but I'm going to make 1 positive and 1 negative. Now, if the bigger number is negative, is positive, then this answer will be positive when we add them together. This answer is positive. So when I start looking at my factors, the bigger number is going to be a positive number. If the negative number is bigger, then my answer will be negative. So when I come over to my horseshoe over here, so if I want this to be positive, I want my bigger number to be positive. So this will be a plus 6, that will be a plus 3. Negative 1 plus 6 is a positive 5. Negative 2 plus 3 is a positive 1. My middle term is still 5. Therefore, I'm going to use these two numbers, the negative 1 and the positive 5. Now, the last one, the easy part, the x and the x. But I have a negative 6, so one of my answers need to be one of my factors needs to be negative. The other one has to be positive. But here, because my middle number is negative, the bigger number is going to be negative this time. So this time the 6 is negative and the 3 is negative. I'm just kind of flip-flopping them. 1 and negative 6 is negative 5. 2 and negative 3 is negative 1. So here I can see I need a positive 1 this time and a negative 5 for that one. So when you're looking at these, I always start by factoring the middle, factoring the x's first. Start there. Then think of what kind of signs you need, and then look at your horseshoe factoring. So looking at a couple more. Let's say we have x squared plus 12x plus 20. Now looking at this, we want to start with the easy part, the x and the x. Now think about what your signs will be. Are they going to be 2 positives, 2 negatives, or 1 of each? I need a positive number here. I also need a positive number when I add them together. Therefore, both of my signs will be positive. I have to think about multiples or factors of 20 that add up to be 12. And I'm going to do the easy one, 1 and 20. No, that's 21. I'm going to go with 2 and 10. There it is. That equals 12. I can stop. I don't have to worry about doing 4 and 5. I found my factor. 2 and 10. And we're done. Let's look at one that has a couple negative signs in it. X squared minus, let's say 3x minus 10. Easy part. X and x. One has to be, because this is negative, one has to be positive, one has to be negative. Because my middle number is negative. Right? The bigger number has to be negative when I'm doing my factors. So I'm going to start with 1 and negative 10. Well, that equals negative 9. That doesn't work. 2 and negative 5. There we go, negative 3. So it's going to be plus 2 and minus 5. Keep these ideas handy. It will definitely help you factor your problems in the future. See you next time.